If you are struggling to negotiate with your supplier and you just don't know how to speak to them and you don't know which questions to ask, this video is for you. Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today we are going to talk about how to negotiate with your supplier to get the best price for your product. So let's get right into it. So my number one tip is to go in with a max price in mind. So you need to do your profit calculations before you actually start speaking to your suppliers. Once you search for your product on Alibaba, you're going to be able to see kind of a ballpark of the average of number that suppliers are charging for this product. So you might see that one product is being sold for $1.50, the other product is being sold for $2, and then maybe one being sold for $1. So you can see that the median price here is around $1.50. So you should keep this in mind when you're doing your profit calculations. Now, as you know, and as I teach in FBA Academy, the minimum profit margins that you should be accepting when starting your Amazon business is $10 a unit. Meaning that if you're going to sell a product for $30 on Amazon, you need to calculate your Amazon FBA fees, which is usually around 33%, and then you will get your profit margins. Now, if those profit margins are, let's say, $15, then you have $5 to buy your product and to ship it to the warehouse. So let's do these calculations together. Let's say you find a product that is being sold on Amazon for $30. So this is the backwards calculation that you're going to do. So it's going to be $30 times 0.33, that's 9.9, which this is the Amazon FBA fees. This is what Amazon is going to take from you. So $9.9, let's say $10. What you have left is now $20. You want to profit $10 out of this. So that means you have $10 left, and this is your maximum price to purchase the product, to get your packaging, and to ship it to the Amazon FBA warehouse. Now, once you start speaking to your supplier, if you see that most of these suppliers are selling the product for around $5, you should not now go to the supplier and say, hey, by the way, I have a maximum budget of $10 for this product. What you should do instead is you should negotiate that $5 and find out what the shipping fee is, so you can come up with a full picture of what your product cost is actually going to be landed to the Amazon warehouse, including your packaging, including your product unit itself, and including the shipping per unit. So go in with a max price, with a max budget. Let's say your budget is $10. That means you cannot pass this $10 budget with all of these three things included. All right, now that you have this max budget in mind, when you're speaking to your supplier, you need to keep in mind that this needs to be a profitable deal for both you and the supplier. If the supplier feels like you're just trying to give them or like lowball them a deal and they're not going to benefit from this, then they're not going to be able to work with you long term. And at the end of the day, if you have a good supplier that gives you a high quality product, then you are going to be working with them for a very long time. So you need to understand that this deal should be profitable for both you and the supplier. And when you're communicating with them, make sure you let them know that you understand this and you want this and that this is your goal. All right, my third tip for negotiating with your supplier is to always communicate with a long-term relationship in mind. A supplier loves to know that they're going to make a lot of money from you in the long run, not just right now. So when you are communicating and when you're negotiating with them, let them know, hey, there is a lot of potential for this product. This is my plan, and I want to keep this long-term relationship with you, and we're gonna deal with each other for a long time. So this is why I want to get a good deal now with this product, so that we are able to keep this long-term relationship and so that we're able to get profits on both ends for the both of us. So this is kind of like a win-win situation. So anytime you're saying anything to your supplier and trying to convince them to give you a better deal, to give you a lower price, or to give you $1 or $2 off of your unit price, always communicate by letting them know that this is a long-term relationship and that you want to keep it that way. Now, my fourth tip is don't be afraid to say no and move on. Some suppliers will give you a very high cost, and if you simply can't get there, again, keeping that $10 or whatever dollar amount it is in mind, which is your maximum amount and your maximum budget, keeping that in mind. If you just can't get there, and if you don't think this is going to be a good deal for you, don't be afraid to say no and move on. Oftentimes, you're gonna find that once you are saying no and you're at that point, they're gonna come back and they're gonna say, okay, now I'm able to match your deal. No, I don't wanna lose this business. So no business is kind of like a lose-lose situation for both you and your supplier, and they never want to get to that point. So once they find out that you are at that point where you're just walking away and you've lost hope with this relationship with them, then they are going to start to try to cut a better deal with you. So don't be afraid to say no and move on. All right, so now my fifth tip is never accept the first price that they give you. Always counter, because suppliers know that you're going to counter. So most of them will give actually a higher price than they are willing to go down to, because they already know that you are going to bargain. So never accept the first price, always counter, and keep in mind that if they accept it too quickly, then you probably could have gone lower. My next tip is to never burn a bridge with your supplier. Always keep it respectful and keep it friendly, because you never know when you're gonna need to reach out to them again. You never know when you're gonna need maybe a different product from them. Your supplier is very important because they are the ones that are providing you with your product to sell on Amazon to be able to make money. So yes, over here we're talking about negotiations and getting the best deal and the best price, but you should never be rude or disrespectful to your supplier. Always keep it professional, always keep it friendly and respectful on both ends. And if you're just not able to come to an agreement, there's better ways to communicate that than to be rude or mean to your supplier. So always keep it friendly and keep that good relationship with them. All right, my last tip is to let them know your future business plans. And this goes hand in hand with always letting the supplier know and communicating with the long-term relationship in mind. When you let your supplier know your long-term business plan, how many products you plan on launching, your sales forecast for the next 12 months, when you're communicating all of this to your supplier, it gets them excited to see that you are planning for a successful business, you're planning for growth, you're planning for scale, and they want to grow and scale with you because it's a win-win situation, because you cut a deal that is a win-win situation. So this is why it's important. So they're going to do everything in their power to try to get you there, and you will do everything in your power to try and get there, and in that way they will also profit. So speaking with your future business plans in mind is very important, because it gets your supplier very motivated to always give you the best quality, the best price, and to give you the fastest shipping times as well. So that's it for today's video. I really hope this was helpful. If you guys are interested to start your Amazon FBA business, don't forget I have an FBA Academy course linked in my description box. If you want to join, I have an offer going on right now, which is 30% off. This is the biggest offer I've ever done. So I'm gonna have that link down below, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next week. Bye.